We are so close to finishing our review, so hang in there. The next thing we have to talk about is sequences. We talked about sequences when we talked about Unit 4, and we talked about two different types of sequences. You have arithmetic sequences and geometric sequences. A term is a number in a sequence. A sequence is a list of numbers. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence with a common difference, meaning that you are adding or subtracting. A geometric sequence is a sequence with a common ratio. Meaning that you are multiplying or dividing. A common difference is the same number being added or subtracted between terms in an arithmetic sequence. So notice that arithmetic sequences and common difference are related, and then geometric sequences and common ratios are related. They go hand in hand, and you have to understand what both of them are. A common ratio is the same number being multiplied or divided between terms in geometric sequence. Okay, so they gave us a list of sequences, and we have to determine if it's arithmetic or geometric. This page should look familiar because it was the very first page on your sequences packet. To determine if we have an arithmetic or geometric sequence, we're going to work backwards. So we're always going to start at the end of our sequence and work backwards. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine if it has a common difference by subtracting backwards. So if I'm looking at this first sequence, I'm going to do 216 minus negative 36, and I get 252. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do negative 36 minus 6. And I get negative 42. Those are not the same number. That means we do not have a common difference. So now we're going to see if we have a common ratio. So we're going to do 216 divided by negative 36, and I get negative 6. Negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. I get the same number. That means I do have a common ratio. So this first sequence, negative 1, 6, negative 36, 216 is a geometric sequence with a common ratio r of negative 6. So we did that first one. Now we're going to do this second one. We're going to start by subtracting backwards to see if we have a common difference. So 11 minus 7 is 4. 7 minus 3 is 4. I do have a common difference of 4 for this second sequence. The common difference, D stands for difference, of positive 4. I just did these first two. This is very easy and definitely something you can do on your own. So go ahead and do the second two on your own. If you do not do these second two, I'm going to hand back your packet as if it was incomplete. Once you've done the last two, sequences up here, we need to practice writing out the formulas for sequences. And there's two different types of formula. Your explicit formula and your recursive formula. Most likely you're going to get an explicit formula question, but it's good to also know the recursive formula just in case. Luckily, both of these formulas in general form are given to you on your formula sheet. So you have an arithmetic sequence section on your formula sheet. You also have a geometric sequence formula on your formula sheet. So if you can identify if it's arithmetic or geometric, you know where to look on your formula sheet. So arithmetic or geometric. So we have to determine if it has a common ratio or a common difference first. So we're going to start by subtracting backwards. We have negative 648 minus negative 108, and I get negative 540. Negative 108 divided by, subtracting negative 18, I get negative 90. Those are not the same number, so that means I do not have a common difference. Now I have to check to see if I have a common ratio. Negative 648 divided by negative 108 is 6. Negative 108 divided by negative 18 is 6. So I have a geometric sequence where my common ratio equals 6. So now I'm going to look at the geometric sequences side of here, and they want me to write the explicit formula. So the explicit formula is a sub n, or any term, is equal to a1, which is my first term, negative 3, times my r, which is 6, raised to the n minus 1 power. That's my explicit formula that is going to help me calculate any term. For example, they want me to calculate my 7th term. So my 7th term would be a sub 7 equals negative 3 times 6 raised to the 7 minus 1 power. And you can type that straight into your calculator. Negative 3 times 6 raised to the 7 minus 1 power is negative 139,968. Alright, the recursive formula. The recursive formula is similar, except this time all you have to plug in is your common ratio. You don't have to worry about your first term. So I'm going to move this over a little bit here. My recursive formula, I have a sub n, which means I could find any term if I know the rate, which we said was 6. So I'm going to plug in 6 times a sub n minus 1, which is your previous term. So if they ask you for the 12th term, your 12th term would be 6 times the 11th term, because the 11th term is previous to the 12th term. Okay, let's do one more together, and then you can do the last 3 on your own, and I will leave the formula sheet available for you to see also. Okay, so first we have to determine if this is arithmetic or geometric. So 52 minus 49 is 3. 49 minus 46 is 3. 46 minus 43 is 3. So it works 3, 3, 3 every time. I'm subtracting, so this is going to be arithmetic with a common difference of positive 3. My explicit formula, this time I'm going to be looking under my arithmetic. My explicit is a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So a sub n equals my a sub 1, which is 40, plus n minus 1 times 3. I could use this to find my 7th term. The 7th term would be 40 plus 7 minus 1 times 3. Notice all I'm doing is plugging in 7 for n when they're asking me my 7th term. Everywhere I have an n, I put 7. N represents your term number. So when I type that into the calculator, 40 plus 7 minus 1 times 3, I get 58. The recursive formula is also given to you on your formula sheet. It's right here, and I'm just going to plug in my common difference, which is 3. So I have a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus 3. Now that I've given you an example of geometric and an example of arithmetic, you need to do these 3 on your own. This is something a regular calculator can do. Just divide backwards, subtract backwards to determine if it's geometric or arithmetic. Using your formula sheet, you can write the explicit formula and the recursive formula. And if you can't all the way find the value of the 7th term, at least write out the formula for it like I did here and here. You don't have to give me a specific value. I'm going to freeze the screen showing the sequence formulas right here so that you can pause it and finish this page. One more page to go. We are so close to being done.